One of the gifts we have of retelling this ancient story year after year is that each year, when we come around again to the story, we get to hear it a little bit differently. Perhaps there's a different character that speaks to us this year. Perhaps we hear a perspective in the story that had not occurred to us before. Perhaps that message of hope and love lands in a new way. Each year, our world has changed, and we have changed. So it would only make sense that Christmas changes too. We know that at least the trappings of Christmas change. As we go through our lives, we celebrate the holiday differently, with different people or in different places, with different attitudes, and perhaps different ideas about what really matters. But through it all those changes, I'm not sure that Christmas itself changes. The Christmas story, the ancient tale of hope and love born anew into a world of fear and trembling. There is something timeless about it, something eternal, something that we somehow seem to need in the same way again and again and again. I know that somehow each December I feel like we need the Christmas story more that year than we ever have before. As the wheel of the year turns again to the depths of winter, our need for a story of peace and hope, for love to come in the form of a tiny baby, comes around again like clockwork. Whatever is happening in the world and in our lives, Christmas somehow knows when it is most needed and arrives, offering hope again at just the right moment. This year, we come into this season in a time of war. There are wars happening all around the world, but in particular, there is war right now in the very land where Jesus was born. We cannot tell this story without naming the terror that is happening in Gaza. The Reverend Munther Isaac, a Christian leader in Bethlehem, has created a very different kind of nativity scene this year, with the baby Jesus in the midst of busted cement and dirty stone. If Jesus were born today, Reverend Isaac says, he would be born in Gaza, amid the rubble. He goes on to explain, the story is that Jesus is born into hardship, lived under occupation, survived a massacre, and became a refugee. This is a story we Palestinians can understand. Though many of the celebrations in Bethlehem have been canceled this year in solidarity with those in Gaza, the story of Christmas will indeed be told. Rami Askria, a Franciscan friar, is one of the many who is presiding over Mass tonight in Bethlehem. He says, we need the Christmas message more than ever. We need the peace and love. We need the light. Again and again, each year, we come to this night needing this story somehow more than ever. Even when the world seems at its very worst, when we arrive in December deep in grief or fear, Christmas comes. And we remember that over 2,000 years ago, when the world seemed at its worst, a beacon of hope came into the world in the form of this tiny baby in the most unexpected of ways. As Maya Angelou writes, into this climate of fear and apprehension, Christmas enters, streaming lights of joy, ringing bells of hope, and singing carols of forgiveness high up in the bright air. The world is encouraged to come away from rancor, come the way of friendship. In our joy, we think we hear a whisper. At first, it is too soft, then only half heard. We listen carefully as it gathers strength. We hear a sweetness. The word is peace. It is loud now. It is louder, louder than the explosion of bombs. We tremble at the sound. We are thrilled by its presence. It is what we have hungered for. Each year, we come around again to Christmas, hungering for hope and joy, hungering for love, hungering for peace. And each year, the baby is born. Hope and love are born anew in our hearts just at the moment that we needed them the most. Beginning slowly, perhaps, as a tiny light in our hearts, and spreading as we pass the light to each other, pass the love until it gathers strength, grows into something beautiful, something holy, something our world so desperately needs. It is in that spirit that we light candles on this night and every Christmas, as a reminder that hope and love can indeed be born anew, and that the light of hope and love can grow, one hand to the next, as it does every year, just when we need it the most.